Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. No, maybe today it's just ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Saudi Arabia. Today we are going to see what Flynas, Saudi Arabia's first budget airline, has to offer. The reviews range from terrible to amazing, so let's experience it for ourselves. Our flight departed from Terminal 3 of Riyadh International Airport. With Saudi Arabia being a very car-loving country, your room is the only way to get to the airport. There is a metro that should have been opened a couple of years ago, but at the time of recording this video, it was still under construction. So if you don't have your own car, a taxi is your only option. It will cost you about 15 to 25 USD, and if you're unlucky, you will get some extra nasty drivers. Let me tell you, I really enjoyed my short stay in Saudi Arabia, and the people are friendly, hospitable and honest. But somehow that doesn't seem to apply to the taxi drivers we met. The night before, we had an especially bad incident in a taxi that really overshadowed our trip. As we were leaving the car, the driver quickly touched my wife by the neck and then tried to push his hand down her chest. Everything happened so quickly and I was already off the car. I was standing outside holding the door open for her, so I didn't see it myself as it was dark and the windows were tinted. And my wife didn't say a single word to me until the car drove off because she was shocked and scared that I would start a fight with the driver, which obviously I would fucking have. I'm not an aggressive person, but if I ever see that dude again, God help me. To be honest, this experience quite ruined the good mood we were having in Saudi Arabia. And we were just looking forward to finally leave. Saudi Arabia is the last country on earth where I expected shit like this, and I was even thinking about calling the police, something I have never done in my life. But luckily the guy didn't succeed with his attempt, and before anyone says, probably she was dressed inappropriately. Well, she wasn't wearing a hijab since we are Muslim, but other than that she was covered from the neck down with loose clothes. The next taxi driver didn't physically harass, but this guy was also giving off some very creepy vibes, as he was calling half-naked young girls on Snapchat on full blast during almost the entire ride.
لا حبيبي بس حسبت تقولين انا ماني حبيب يعني شكلك ليلة كذا لطيفة خفيفة كذا يجي منك
مين ولا ايش؟
Anyway, this video isn't about disgusting taxi drivers with blue balls, and I know that those incidents are not representative of Saudi Arabia. I'm sure that 99.99% of people there are respectful and friendly, but for us that just made an awful first impression. The best escape plan we found from Saudi Arabia was a Flynas flight leaving Riyadh at 10 AM. For around $200 we got tickets for both of us and a generous 7 kg cabin bag allowance, which is pretty good for a budget airline. The catch? We had to check in at the airport, which meant waiting in a long line. But a friendly check-in agent fixed a seat reservation mishap for us, got us seats together, and closed both eyes when he saw the weight of our bags. But just when we thought we were in the clear, we were stopped at security because we didn't have a Flynas sticker. No idea why we needed that. A quick trip back to the counter and voila, we got the magic sticker with no questions asked. As Flynas is a budget airline, there is no traditional business class. However, if you are a prime passenger, you do get lounge access. Obviously, I'm not a prime passenger, so I used my priority pass instead to gain access to the Hayyak Lounge. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. The choice of culinary delight is very Western, yet this being Saudi Arabia, I can't enjoy my breakfast with a couple of tequila shots. But in a country where people do stuff like that while being sober, I guess that's not really an issue. So we have 5 minutes at the lounge and then it's already boarding time. Where's our gate again? Boarding was right on time, and as we stepped on the plane, we were greeted by a flight attendant with a big smile, a welcoming touch common to many carriers in the region. Upon entering the cabin, we were pleasantly surprised. The seats looked sleek, and they were far more comfortable than those plastic seats on most budget airlines. Also, the seat pitch of 76 cm was decent, giving us enough space to feel at ease. The only difference from a premium carrier was the lack of a recline. No, just kidding. So overall, the experience felt much more upscale than what we expected from a budget flight. By the way, if you want to see honest and fun trip reports on random airlines around the globe, feel free to subscribe and to check out my other videos. But now it's time for takeoff. Our seats 8E and 8F offer a great view of the wing and the engine. But please don't hesitate to skip the takeoff if you hate aviation and want 7 years of bad luck. Timestamps are provided. As we left Riyadh behind us, there was not really that much to see apart from sand and sand and sand. I guess I'm starting to understand why Dune was filmed on the Arabian Peninsula. Nonetheless, before discovering any sandworms, we are already entering a thick layer of clouds. And I know a lot of you might not believe this, but there are actually clouds here. I have no idea where the rain goes, because Saudi Arabia is the biggest country without a river, but there are clouds. And it was also never warmer than 20 degrees Celsius during our stay, which was in January to be fair. But also on the plane it wasn't too warm, and as Flynas is an airline as dry as the Rub al Khali Desert, you won't get anything on board to warm your soul. However, there are some snacks and non-alcoholic beverages for purchase. And that for prices that are to be expected on an airline from one of the wealthiest countries in the world. So I didn't buy anything, but another thing I noticed is how clean the plane was. The same also goes for the airport and the city of Riyadh in general. You can see cleaners cleaning everywhere, and you could literally eat on the floor. Another thing that amazed me is how people just leave their valuables laying around or charge their phone somewhere in the mall and just leave without having to worry that it will be stolen. But I guess the punishments for stealing are a bit harsher here than in Europe, so I guess that makes sense. Anyway, I'm violently digressing again. Flynas serves 54 destinations across 99 routes, and their Airbus-only fleet consists of 60 planes with 120 new planes ordered, all of them being A320neos and A321 XLRs. They also operate 6 A330s for the long-haul routes, however, I guess they will be replaced by A321 XLRs. Our journey continued eastwards, flying out of Saudi Arabia over Bahrain and the Persian Gulf before entering Qatari airspace. We were set to land at Hamad International Airport, Qatar's only public airport and home to Josh Cale's favorite carrier. According to Skytrax, it's also the best airport in the world. Before landing, the flight attendants carefully checked the cabin, all while maintaining their friendly demeanor and smiles. In my opinion, Flynas delivers everything a budget airline should, and even more. Sure, it's tough to judge an airline based on a single flight, but Flynas impressed me. The only downside was the inability to use an electronic boarding pass, which meant enduring a long queue. I'm not sure if that's Flynas' fault or the airport's though. Other than that, I have no complaints. The flight was on time, the ground crew and the cabin crew were friendly, and the plane was new and clean. If you're unsure whether to choose a budget airline like Flynas or a full-service Gulf carrier, click here to compare Flynas with Gulf Air, or here to compare it with Etihad. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next week.